Hi everybody, you found to my next to bring everything that is awesome in gaming like this. Achilles Legends Untold, okay? Awesome game, super stoked. We ran across it from one of our PR companies. It supports full controller support. We love that about Microsoft. Xbox is a product of Microsoft, and they kind of go all in to make it easy to map. You know, no matter what game you're playing, we're going to do this story. I love that about games that they, suggest, they'll suggest co-op or whatever, but they have this story mode which sells itself. And it's really hard to replicate the power of a story and influence, which we're definitely into. It's like social media, they're encouraging you to go out and influence people. Brand representatives, and there's influencers. So influencers use their platform to let you know what good games are, for instance.
Fear is like an unpredictable sea. At times you can tame it,
will just sell a company.
Yet other times it leads you right into the heart of the storm. Helen, the wife of the king of Sparta, Menelaus, was kidnapped. The princes of Troy, who violated the sacred principle of hospitality, are at fault. The storm they unleashed was soon to sweep through the whole of Greece. With wind in their sails, to the beat of the war drums,
it's a story of a city
the sons of Greece set sail, hungry for justice and glory, ready to restore honor and to punish the bold Trojans. And among them, Achilles, a fearless warrior whose mere presence filled hearts with courage. A hero of 100 battles. But this time, even he did not believe in an easy victory. The Trojans made sure of that. A fiery blaze illuminated the night sky, bringing death and destruction. Fear looked the Greeks in the eyes. Trapped in the unrelenting grip of the elements, they had to overcome their fright. Suddenly, one of the boats broke free from the hellish turmoil. Achilles, with Myrmidons at his side, fought his way to the shore. If only he could recapture Helen, the war would be at its end. At least that's what he still believed back then.
I had my Helen moment. It's for your younger years. Ladies, don't try that at home. Interesting story though. They like destroy temples. Really just don't feel like there's an upper limit to the revenge that they can take.
We did not fight through the storm and flame. We have come here to win. And we shall win when we recapture Helen from the enemy's grasp. Many armies have fallen before these walls. Look for their weak points and for passages. That is how we shall try to get inside.
So it's curious to see, they go past Troy, like what exactly goes on there.
Settles, the glory of true heroes
probably they
still
can't. Achilles is your
Troy!
So the focus is here on the story of Achilles. They have a convergence point on stories. Greeks had an interesting concept where you could be blamed for something. That's rare. But they have a twinned story convergence that lets them do that, where when they crash into each other, one of these two stories is going to win. So there's a room for a lot of debate, and an upper limit to how many men, for instance, you can lose doing that.
I need to get to Troy and rescue Helen. That is the only way to end this war quickly.
Take it out on some barrels.
Gods.
Target lock. Okay. Brilliant. These healing potions. Got it. I don't think I need to do that, but okay. So they got a good mapping system going on.
I'll fight you until
good
the end.
MC. Whoa. You obviously are a brute. You're supposed to be invincible. Literally invincible. There was only one spot in his body that had not been dipped into the river of, dipped into the river, and his mother had asked a boon of the gods, I think was the way the story goes. For those of you not versed in Greek mythology, not party to the obviously that is classical education, once in a while I forget that not everyone had to go through that. Can I just exit up?
Not yet.
Yeah, like they know they're gonna commit some heinous crimes. Obviously at the outset that doesn't seem like it would be, for instance, too many men. But you get to the point where these stories converge and you run into the concept of guilt. That for the Greeks was the platform for the classic dilemma. Dilemmas being the only time that you could be wrong in the god's eyes as a ruler. So your gods would fight and so on. Still not necessarily wrong. You could just fall. But then when you started a storyline where like you were going to put in families or take down families,
give
that
my
sort of
men
thing.
time to find a passage inside. I will challenge their commander. And if he is in his right mind, maybe I could convince him to give up Helen. I just need to get to the gate.
Then you start to run into responsibility. So at this point, Menelaus can't technically be responsible for Helen's protection.
Let you pass.
Depending on the storyline, you know, if that's your little brother versus your enemy, guilt would seem pretty obvious one way or another. You're either going to protect Helen or you're going to cast her out. Troy, at this point, can't really cast her out. Obviously, they can, at some point, have, you know, meeting minds and argue about that. At that point, guilt can shift. So we're talking about major pivot points in narrative that aren't object-based because they're based on people and we don't consider them objects. Hi, kitty kitty. Oh, you've got a cat. I love that animals are friendly being included in gaming. They have a weird wheel well. We run into it with motorcycles, where if you have a weird turn radius, it's not technically inside of a wheel well, so it just does messed up things to gaming. We didn't previously have control over camera angles and object-to-character interactions and so on, where we could do that. So they've just finally said screw it and included them vicariously.
You must
can
be
pet
a
them, you
fool
can do
to
this,
come
you
here
can do that, and really
Is it
specific
death
things,
you
and
seek,
then just
Achilles?
animate them.
Or maybe you want to beg for mercy.
Hector, move aside!
I suggest an honest duel. The victor shall decide Helen's fate and put this war to an end.
So these are all
Helen is
bargaining
under
chips that go into
Paris'
it.
protection.
You run into it a
You
little
and
bit
your
in
brother
Sorry
ready to
or
sacrifice
Tabuli.
the lives of your men for her? When the rest of the fleet
Or if you're gonna
gets
do
here,
that, you know you're
hundreds
collecting.
will die on both sides. Why must
And Sorry
anyone
doesn't go
else
backtracking.
die when the
Tabuli
commanders
uses
can put
squish
an
sticks.
end to further bloodshed with one duel?
You seek an honorable solution, but there is nothing honorable about war. It's messy and brutal, and history is written by the victors.
So he's like
Archers,
owning this.
On my mark!
He knows that if they destroy them, or if for some reason supporting that brother is better, then I want to see if I can just jam on him. Horrible, like really just bad. Like I bought Dark Souls the other day because I like to see if this will win every time. I will absolutely just jam on a boss and see like I want to always see can a power move take somebody down. Oh my god, you're not allowed to do that.
You're
Not
right,
allowed, not
Constantine.
allowed, Nixon.
History is indeed written by the victors, but your death was not in vain. It will help end this hopeless war.
They're gonna hit him so hard. Holy cow.
Hopefully this fight bought my men some time. I need to know whether
Alright.
they managed to find entry into the city.
Gods, it's
Alright. So I almost needed to use a health potion there. But yeah, I like to see, back in the day of narrative games, there was this problem that people ran into where you had to want to move the narrative, and men tended not to. They would just, like, jam on something. So you could power move enemies, and then for some reason, and they never gave you an impetus to do so.
not far from here. In a rock
Myrmidon! Oh, just a random Myrmidon. Okay, not like story Myrmidon.
ambushed me.
I get into things way too much.
Your sacrifice
You are not the
shall
quintessential
save
Myrmidon.
thousands. After the battle, we will raise our
So
cups
story
in your
rest
name.
point. We use the denouement. I hate that.
Rest in
I
peace.
literally couldn't be happier.
Your deeds
Never
shall never
denouement
be
me.
forgotten.
I don't do the habitual. I'm not trying to iron out somebody else's underpants.
I think I found the passage. This will have to do.
Town. These are very clear signposts. Oh, and we get a little bit of
The
animation. Yeah,
defenders
basic
prepared
cutscenes.
for
Lara
a
brought it.
frontal attack, but they did not consider this narrow passage. An entire army would not be able to get through it, but a small unit could slip through and divert attention.
His unit is, you know, that's like a hardcore unit. So it's important to know how many of them are back in, whether or not they're on screen.
I have to find the way to the upper city.
It's like having seals. Alright. We're like SEAL Team 2. But we have Achilles. Really great use of ammo. So he's got water fights. I would have felt bad, you know, like actually acting this out. I was very sympathetic to Helen and the fact that she fell in love with a young man. She had an older husband, and, you know, like everybody got rowdy and she wanted to sleep with one of them, you know? So he, as far as I'm concerned, he chucks her on his boat and, you know, makes that all right because for some reason her husband doesn't like it, you know? It's not like she was avoiding him, you know what I mean? Like, that's not how I felt about that. I felt like it was a real story that she really had, and that their society would have wanted them to play that out, you know? There's just such a thing as being victim to too much, you know? Or I could see where you could wind up in the wrong place at the wrong time. I personally have never gone in, but I don't think anybody's never made a mistake. I don't do what if. I do, like, bad dice rolls, you know? She had some bad dice rolls. Because at this point, Prince's Menelaus can roll up in here, steal his wife back, and just treat her like crap for the rest of her life, and that just ends. And she seems to, like, get that, you know what I mean? She seems to get that she's just beautiful. Like, that's it. It's not like he loves her. She was looking at that anyways. And I don't think she necessarily thinks it's better to be in Troy, just that happened. If you're not familiar with the story, we are eventually going to roll the Hesiod up in a wooden horse and surprise everyone. I love breaking barrels. I don't know if you had this from back in the day, where either there was so little in a dungeon or so much that breaking a barrel had two purposes, and I'd just like to know which one it was. So this is kind of Prince of Persia. It's cool. It's from the same area. Persia was actually the main, if you ever saw 300, it was the main for Sparta. Obviously, the other city-states would have fought with each other more because they had a body of fresh water to do so. So you can, like, not die if you sail across a body of fresh water, but you will probably die if you sail across a body of salt water. There's, like, two main differences here. The not dying versus the dying of exterior and interior trade. Greece was weird because they had that. Not that it, you know, was the only one to have islands and so on under the sea, but it really affected their trade and war in the war part of I think the Ottoman Empire was important, and then the Huns, which were a weird hybrid of the Mongols and the later Chinese. All of these things affected Greece and like nowhere else. Maybe Italy a little bit, and so on. So fun game, you know, like really great RPG drive, really great storyline.
Soldiers,
you get to be around civilians. They're a little bit stationary, but they have this great interactive look and feel that you find in Mr. Howard's games, Mr. Howard, Mr. Taylor for Bethesda. Arcane carried them through, where you have servants and so on, and then people around town. The people around town you can kill in most of their games. And then they kind of stripped that down for not Bloodsport, that was the original name of that, Bajang.
Enough of this madness, Paris. Release Helen.
Madness?
Tears in the
Look
rain,
beyond the walls.
guys.
There you will witness true madness. The madness of
Oh,
the
it's
kings
Paris
who came
already,
here with
okay.
you.
Hi.
This war is nothing
Paris.
but the consequences of your mindless decisions.
That was
You have
fast.
stained the honor of the king of Sparta. The honor
Actually, it's
of
not
the
Paris
Greeks.
first.
Did you think that this insult would go unpunished?
You think that if Helen returned to Greece, it would change anything? You speak
Yeah,
so
like,
much
that's
of
another thing that's
Menelaus,
gonna come
yet
and go,
you
is
failed
if
to see
you
who
go to Helen's
wanted this war
return,
from the
we'd
very
just still burn down
beginning.
Troy,
Besides, if I
basically.
handed Helen over to that sick tyrant, it would be like sentencing her to death. I came to love her, and I shall
He
defend
came to love her.
until
This is
my
just a
last
horrible
breath.
speech. Alright, so I'm not just gonna be able to wail on Paris. I do die in every video, so I'm gonna go ahead and die here.
Helen knows the truth.
Rather than taking you through the paces of combat, I take you through things like that. Understand my role as a chick. I am every chick to you. You practice off screen. take the hit on screen and just bring something to the table. Mara actually wrote my story. I did help launch Bethesda Softworks back in the day, so I bring a lot of PR experience to the table. I have 38 years of
I thought I was a step away from ending this war. Doubt, however, struck first, unexpectedly.
So supposedly they only had him in his Achilles heel.
I could feel my strength waning with each moment, and the cold grip of fear taking away my will to fight. Before I regained my composure, I was in the clutches of the abyss. Time and space lost meaning, until finally, that voice appeared inside my head.
Oh, cool, and I get back up and I go again. So that is how they handled permadeath. So I don't know if you're supposed to lose Paris, if you're allowed to win to him. We will check on that. We love you guys. We love the Arrows Along for Ride. We do try to keep these to 10-15 minutes. So link in the description below. Also down there is Gamer Grind, Gamer Coffee shipped to your door. Put your logo on merch. You can support the Pirate Queen with what next. Also down there is KOF. Buy this chicken coffee $1, make me smile, or support me on Patreon. Most of all, hit subscribe and hit the bell. It'll pop you up a little thumbnail. So if you love RPGs, this is an awesome one that's up and coming. We are cutting down on how many video games we do, so we're trying to bring you like the cream of the crop here. It's 5 a week. I hadn't originally intended that, but I just run out of time. But I can add it. So I love your game. Hopefully, I will be able to cover it more and not actually lose the time. I'm super excited about that. We love you guys. We love this game. Hit us up if you want to in any way be involved with, being a brand influencer or being an influencer. And it's brand advocacy. We actually follow the dev and what they're doing for this game, or an influencer just where you kind of disseminate stuff out. So that's kind of the direction that we're going with this. And we love that you're a part of that. Feel free to DM us or message us or contact us in communities or however you guys interact. We have all of that down there. But most of all, hit subscribe, hit the bell. Hit like. We love that you just enjoy exploring video games with us. That is our fan base, and we adore that you guys are constantly coming through here, and we get to talk to new people and really just participate in the community. So stay safe, game on. We'll see you next video.